Hey kids, it's Uncle Wood here. Has there ever been a time when someone has promised you something but didn't do it? Hmm. Oh, by the way, Rach, after dinner tonight, can we watch the new Toy Story movie? I've been really wanting to watch it.
Yeah, sure.
Hang on. The other night when we were watching the other Toy Story movie, you kept falling asleep.
Don't worry, I won't fall asleep this time. I had a good rest last night.
Okay, so you promise you won't fall asleep this time?
Yeah, I promise.
Ah.
A few moments later.
It's just such a sad movie. Right, Rach? Rach? Sometimes people make promises that they just can't keep. This can be really sad and disappointing. But in today's story, we're going to be learning about God and how he always keeps his promises, no matter how impossible it may seem. Let's check it out. A long time ago, there lived a man named Abraham. He lived in a town called Ur. One day, God spoke to Abraham. Abraham, leave your home and go. I am going to give you a land. I am going to make you the father of a great nation. I am going to make the whole world happy through you. Abraham was amazed. Three amazing promises: land, the father of a great nation, and that the whole world would be made happy through him. So Abraham packed up everything he owned, and he and his wife Sarah and all his family left, just as God had told him. Abraham was 75 years old. A while later, God again spoke to Abraham. Abraham, do not be afraid. But Abraham was worried. You see, Abraham and Sarah could not have children, and they were very old. So God took Abraham out and showed him the stars in the sky. Look up at the sky and see the stars. Count them if you can. That's how big your family will be, as many as there are stars in the sky. Abraham looked at the stars, and even though he had no children, he believed God. Years and years went by, but still Abraham and Sarah had no children. One day, when they were both very old, three visitors came walking by. Abraham invited the men to come and eat. The three visitors came and sat. Abraham and Sarah quickly prepared some food for them. Sarah gave the men their food and quickly went back into the tent. One of the visitors said, "By this time next year, your wife Sarah will have a son." Now Sarah was listening, and Sarah laughed to herself. She was too old to have children. The visitor turned to Sarah and asked, "Why did you laugh? Is anything too hard for God?" Sarah was afraid and said, "I didn't laugh." But the visitor replied, "Yes, you did laugh." 1 year later, just as the visitor had said, Sarah had a baby boy. They called him Isaac. Abraham was 100 years old, but God had kept his promise. Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons. And Abraham's family grew and grew and grew, as many as there are stars in the sky. Abraham was the father of a great nation, just like God had promised. And God did give Abraham's family a land, just like he had promised. And God did make the whole world happy through Abraham's family, just like he had promised. because Jesus is part of Abraham's family, and God does good to the whole world through Jesus. The whole world can be made happy through Abraham's most famous family member, Jesus. So kids, God always keeps his promises. By keeping his promises to Abraham, Jesus was eventually born. And Jesus saves me and you from our sin. Jesus is the answer to all of God's promises.